In today's weekly Forex forecast, I'm sharing my exact trade plan for the DXY, the euro, the pound, the dollar versus the Canadian dollar, and also gold. So if you're new here, my name is Justin Bennett, founder of Daily Price Action, Forex trader for the last 17 years. And starting next week, I'm going to be putting out videos, more how-to instructional videos, talking about SMC, talking about price action, market profile, things of that nature. So things that are going to help you guys with your trading. So I'm no longer putting out the daily analysis throughout the week. As you can see this past week, I'll still keep doing the weekly forecast, but I am going to be doing more how-to videos that are really going to help you guys with your trading. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. So looking at the DXY, let's start with the daily time frame. And this video is going to be a little bit different than what we're used to, or what you guys are probably used to, because we're going to start with the daily on a lot of these currency pairs, and we're going to drill all the way down to the intraday charts to show you exactly what I'm watching for next week. And again, this is all based on high time frame levels, price action, but also combining now smart money concepts into the mix on those lower time frames. So looking at the dollar index, the DXY, on the daily time frame, we obviously have the market trending higher here, making higher highs and higher lows. So if you saw last week's forecast, this played out perfectly because I was looking for a push back above 99.4 and for this to serve as support for the move higher. So at the start of last week, right, the DXY was down here. So 2 weeks ago, it ended right here on this candle. So technically below 99.4. And we got the close here on Monday, support on Tuesday, right off of that level. So if you saw that weekly forecast, you should have been able to get into a dollar long through here for that pushback here toward the highs. Now, as of right now, the market is still dealing with this 100.2 area. So technically, this is still resistance, okay? So I am looking for pullbacks on the US dollar to start next week. However, I don't know that we are going to get a very deep pullback considering how well the market has held up here for the past 2 days. And furthermore, too, when we look at this on the monthly time frame, let's go really high level here for a second because this is significant. And this is also that channel that we've talked about here for a very long time, for months now. And this is why I was telling you guys months ago to start, or at least I was starting to lean a little bit more bullish on the US dollar. And this level up here, 100.8, this is going to be a significant level here because we have all these lows through here. So we have all these lows. This is also the 50% of this monthly upper wick. So this 100.8 level is going to be significant. Now you can also see these blue lines here. These are single prints. Okay, so these are thinly traded areas on the buy side right now. And so when we look at an hourly chart, you can see where, yes, we are dealing with this resistance back here. However, this region up here is probably, okay, getting tagged sometime possibly next week. Okay, possibly. We'll see how it goes, but I do think that this area is going to come under pressure here sometime in November, most likely. Now, we do have the U.S. holiday coming up, though, so it could be pushed into November. But I do think with where the DXY is trading right now, it does look like a retest up here. 100.8 is likely. However, before that, I would like to see a pullback early next week. And this makes more sense when we look at the euro and the pound, which we'll look at next. But right now, we are seeing the DXY hold up, relatively well through here. Now, looking down here, we do have a 1 hour order block. So an order block, if you guys are not familiar with it, it is this candle right here. So on the 1 hour time frame, right, you can see that we have this down candle right here. Okay, so this black candle, and it was followed by an immediate push higher. So this right here, we also had a fair value gap that was identified here on this candle. So this right here is an area of interest because we saw a lot of money, big money come into the area, or come into the DXY here, into the US dollar in this area. So areas like this tend to be defended. Okay, now at the same time, we also have the November open just above. Below that, we have a daily fair value gap. Now, the question though is, do we see the DXY pull all the way back here before bouncing? And again, I'm not so sure that, especially when we look at the euro and the pound, which will make more sense when we look at those charts. Okay, but for now, again, we do have an uptrend here on the DXY, so there is no reason to be bearish on the US dollar right now. Yes, it is coming into some resistance up here. But again, we have the uptrend intact. We have that monthly level up there that is just above current rates right now. So I do think, again, that we are likely to see the market come up here into these areas. Plus, single prints like this, inefficiencies like this tend to serve as magnets for a market. So given the fact that we are just kind of consolidating here, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the DXY move below these lows, maybe a little liquidity sweep next week, and then get the push higher, possibly up here toward that monthly level, okay? So that's what I'm looking for, but ideally we get the move down here before we move higher. This really, though, is kind of the line in the sand for buyers, in my opinion. As long as we're above this area next week, then I will remain bullish on the US dollar. Okay, so let's move on now to the EURUSD, which on the daily time frame, really clear range here that we've had going all the way back here to June and July. So you can see that off the highs, this back here was a failed breakout. So this is one of our models that we trade in the VIP group. This is a daily fake out right here. Basically, this closed below. You would have shorted here on this next candle, and obviously that played out really nicely. But for the most part, you can see really nice range here from the euro. We also have this descending channel off of these highs and lows. And, look, I would love to be able to move away from diagonal levels and just trade horizontals because it does make the chart a lot cleaner, but it's hard to do that when you have levels like this that are so clean, right? And this really has kind of outlined the price action going all the way back here to September. And you can see where recently the euro did reject from the top of this channel once again. And this aligned with the DXY, what I was talking about in last weekend's forecast, is that this right here, was the pivot right here for the euro from a bullish to bearish move. Now, furthermore, and we have started to, in the group, guys, use SMC. Those of you who are familiar with it, it is part of what SMC is a way to identify trend structure, market structure. And so with this, right, back here in this area, what you can see is that if we go to a 30-minute time frame, so it's a little easier to see, basically we had the euro moving higher, right? Higher highs, higher lows. Now, what this back here, this low right through here, this represents on this breakdown what's called a change of character. So those of you familiar with SMC will know that that right there is a reversal signal. And so this is where we started to get more bearish on the euro. So the fact that we closed down here, right, this confirmed the change of structure. Now you could draw it off of this level up here. However, when you look at this high, right, this high up here, if you move back, what really started this move, the impulse, was this low, not necessarily this one. So for me, this was the more conservative one. The more one that was likely to trigger that reversal if it was taken out, which it was. So then looking for shorts against pockets like this up here made a lot of sense. And that's been the case all last week, looking for shorts on those pullbacks. So we had the change of character through here. And so far the market has just carved lower highs and lower lows. Now recently though, we did get, some consolidation here over the past couple of days. And this has made it a little bit tricky for SMC traders in particular, because if they were using this high back here, you can see where we had, all right, so from this downtrend, we had another change of character through here. However, this is where, again, if you look at this move, if you look at this low down here, this originated up here. This originated up here, not right here. And so this is where I kind of disagree with some of the analysis out there, because a lot of SMC traders would use this high, but when you look at the actual impulse, that carved these lows, it was not this high. It was this high up here. So for me, the way that I'm viewing this is anything below 115.80, as long as we're below this high up here, bottom line, I am bearish on the euro. So what I'm looking for next week is going to be a combination of high time frame and lower time frame combining really price action with SMC. So looking here at the daily time frame, let's look at this here, because we do have a couple things happening to take note of. So first of all, we have a daily FEG back here. So 115.71, that is a daily FEG off of this low through here. So areas like this tend to serve as support and resistance once we get that breakthrough. So areas like this right back here, and the market loves to revisit these areas as well. So you can see what happened back here, right? We had the close below, and we actually talked about this in the VIP group as well, where we had this low right here, this day closed. Look where the next day tested and sold off right here. Same thing here, right? We had the low down here. We had the day close just below, although that was very marginal, and we came up here and sold off. This one up here though was really standout just because we had the market moving significantly lower here on this candle. But the bottom line is we do have this daily FEG up here right around 115.71. Now, the issue that I have with that though is that if we go to something like a weekly, looking at the weekly chart, you can see where we have a bearish engulfing candle forming. Now, there's still about an hour left in the session. I'm recording this on a Friday, but barring a miracle here for the euro, we are going to close below this low, And this creates a weekly FEG right off of this low. So when we map this out here at 1.1541, if we map that out and then go to a 4-hour time frame, Okay, the issue I have with eyeing areas like this up here, this daily FEG up here at 11571 is that off of these lows is that you have this weekly now FEG through here, and there's also a 4-hour order block in this area. So if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about there. All right, so we move in and you can see where we have these two candles right here. So green candle, or in this case, white candle, black candle, red candle, right? So we had to move lower here off of these two green candles. So this candle so far is untouched. Now, this candle right here, the candle right before that sell-off, this is the order block, okay? And again, what this represents is an area where you have big money flowing into the market. So they are going to be looking to protect this area next week. So you have that weekly FEG, you've got this 4-hour order block. And my opinion, guys, is I don't think that we are going to get up here. I'd be surprised if we see the euro get all the way back up here. And in fact, if it did, at that point, you could really start to make the case that there's a change of structure happening now on something like the hourly or 30-minute time frame. So I think that, looking for shorts next week against this area, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense for that push down here into the lows around 114.70. And then we also have this area around 114.60. So looking at the daily time frame, going back to this, the reason why I'm looking at this area down here is you can see that off of this daily high right back here, we never saw the market come down here and test this fully. Now, this is an FEG as well, right there at 114.60. So this area, okay, is going to be one of my targets for next week if we get the short from here. So in addition to that, we also have the bottom of this channel. We also have this low, which is the range low. So in my opinion, guys, I'm still bearish on this market. There's no reason to be bullish. Another factor too, if that wasn't enough, if we look over here at the monthly open, okay, so off of this candle right here on November 3rd, this was the monthly open. Now, if we draw a horizontal off of this level, okay, so this was the open right here. And if we look at this over here, you can see where we are closing below. Now, this is going to be the first time that we're closing below since this candle here on the 6th. So notice what happened. We got the close above here on the daily. Notice what became support, right? Right off of that level, we got the rally up there toward the top of that channel, and now we've had the sell-off. So we held above it here on this candle. We held above it pretty much on Thursday, and now Friday we are below it. So again, this lines up with this area. So I could be wrong here, guys, but in my opinion, I will be looking for shorts here. Now, one thing too, just to kind of, before we move on, is a lot of people will then ask, the next logical question is, well, how do you determine that this area is likely, okay, this area up here is likely for a short and not this one? And this is where low time frame comes into play. And again, SMC, because if you go to something like a, let's say 5-minute time frame, or even a 1-minute time frame, you could do this on. If we see the market come up here next week, then what you'd be looking for, what I'd be looking for is, let's say you get a push up here like this. What you're essentially looking for from here is you want to see the market punch below one of these lows, okay? So you want to get that change of character, something like this, right? Where this right through here, okay, would become your change of character off of this low, right? That's your change of character, and then you're looking to short against buy-side inefficiencies that build up through here. And if you get this right here, then that's kind of your confirmation that this area is likely to hold, and we're probably going to get that push down there toward those targets. Now, if we don't get this right here, then there's no short, because we could be headed higher up there toward that second area. All right, so hopefully that makes sense and gives you guys enough ammo to approach this with confidence. So looking at the pound now, let's take a look at this here on the weekly time frame, because this is really telling, where the market was holding above these lows back here. So you can see the low right back here. So this low, this one through here, we held above it. We even got a bullish pin bar, and now this week is potentially closing below. Like I said, there's about an hour left in this week. So barring a miracle, the pound is going to close back below here. So that means that this is going to flip to new resistance, right, off these lows. Now, in addition to that, we have a couple of other things to look at. So on the daily, we have a daily FEG back here. Okay, so right here off of this low. So this low right through here, there's your daily fair value gap. And then we also have that horizontal level right through here. So very close to that low. Okay, so bottom line, guys, I'm looking for this area for a short. And you can see when we go back here to even the daily time frame, I mean, basically off these lows, if you were to catch a short from here, my first target would be these lows down here in this area, right? So catch a short from here, same concept as the euro. You're basically looking for that change of character on the low time frames if we see the move up here into this resistance area. And then from there down here to the lows, you're talking about 100 pips, maybe 120. So a lot of room to play with down here in this region. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for there. Furthermore, if we look at the 30-minute time frame, you can see where the market has been very choppy. However, we did get a change of character from bearish to bullish back here. The market went sideways. We even had a break of structure through here. Now we've had a bearish change of character. So with this right here, this switches us back to bearish. And again, we're closing the week below this area potentially. So as long as that's the case, again, I like the idea of looking for shorts up here in this region if we get it. All right, so simple enough. This market has been very sideways, very choppy, but I think that that's a pretty good game plan, at least for myself. Obviously, this is never financial advice, but I like the idea of looking for shorts against this area, guys, right around 1.3140. And I really have to stress, guys, this is never financial advice. This is always just my opinion. It's educational purposes only. But looking at the dollar CAD next, obviously, market has been an uptrend here, looking for a move back here toward this daily order block. So again, off of this area right here, we had big money coming into the market on this push lower. So this area is likely to be defended. However, we are also probably looking at a retest here over the next few weeks. So I like the idea of looking for buys on pullbacks here, given the recent uptrend. So with that, one area that I'm watching is going to be here on the hourly time frame. You can see that we do have a 1 hour order block right here. So we have this down candle right before the market ripped higher. So we have this 1 hour order block. We have a weekly FEG through here, and we also have a 1 hour FEG. So there's a lot happening down here in this area, guys, to the point that, if we get the push down here, and again, same concept as what we talked about in the euro, you're essentially watching the lower time frames here, or at least I am, for that change of character next week to get that confirmation that this area is going to hold. If we don't see that change of character on the low time frames, then there is nothing to do. Okay, but that's the area I'm watching for next week, into this pocket here for a pushback here into the highs. Okay, so now for gold. So obviously this market has been trending higher here for months. However, things are a little bit shaky here recently for gold. And we talked about this last week, and I'll just show you guys too. One setup that we talked about in the VIP group was this right back here. Okay, so we had gold coming off the support down here. However, there was no setup until we got this. So looking here at this high, and the reason we're using this high is because if you'll notice, we had, okay, obviously lower highs and lower lows back here, and this high is what produced this low. Okay, so we took out this low back here. So if we track back from that low, this is our high. Now, this right here produced a change of character, okay, short term last week. Now, at the same time, if you look over here, and I announced this too in VIP before it happened, guys, looking back here at these highs, we had the change of character through here. I told members that we had liquidity building above here, including this blue line up here, this single print. So what I told members in Discord is we had the change of character through here, and this was now the new support. Now, as far as the target, I was looking for a sweep of all of these highs over here into this 4120, 4130 area, which you can see that gold tagged that single print perfectly, okay? So that was a perfect retest there. Now, I don't typically trade fake outs on the intraday charts. However, there is something happening right now on gold. In fact, in just the past couple hours, that is starting to look a little bit more bearish. Okay, so obviously the market has been trending lower since the high up here. So not really looking great in that regard. And furthermore, if you take a look here at the 4 hour time frame, what you'll notice is that this trend line right here, which you can really see it on the hourly, if we go here, you can see off of these highs, right? So we have this high back here, we have all these highs through here, and then we have the close above, and now we have the close below. So this right here, guys, could be a potential fake out for next week for a push down here into these lows. Now, oftentimes too, when you have a symmetrical pattern like this, and you get a fake out to one side, you do often get an extended move in the opposite direction. So that is going to be something to pay attention to next week. I think that we could get a further pullback here from gold. And, look, it's been up only now for months. I mean, this move back here was going to unwind at least partially eventually. And you've got all of these single prints, all these imbalances down here that we could potentially target. But I think that if you're looking for, a trade next week, again, never financial advice, just my opinion, I think that this could be it here. That little fake out there, if we get the move below this trend line here, down here around these lows, then that could confirm it, and we could start to target some of these lows down here, potentially the range lows down there closer to 3,900. All right, so not looking too great here for gold. At the same time, though, it has just been very sideways here for a while. So it's really been pretty unfavorable, especially when you compare it to other things out there that are moving a little bit nicer than what we're getting from gold right now. But that's what I'm watching, guys. If you want my help with your trading, including real-time market updates in Discord, VIP-only videos, and also the course, including the new intraday course that I'm launching, be sure to check out the link in the description of this video and join us for those real-time updates. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you again next week.